This is life, and what a good time to be alive. Remember what a glory it is to be alive right now.
Thank you for coming. Welcome to the party.
Thanks, Jess.
We're basically, before we start, if you can just take a few deep breaths in. And just relax into your body. And then if you can just tell us how you're feeling right now.
I feel excited.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah.
Love that.
I feel good.
Good. Why do you feel excited?
I don't know, I'm just filling myself up with this excited energy. And earlier I was looking at this photo of myself when I was 6, just like this energy on my face. And I remember the cake that was put in front of me, I didn't like it, but I just got excited about everything.
Was it your birthday?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I feel like I tried to channel that energy today. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that your Instagram post.
Yeah. I really felt it. And I was like, wow, I've always had that, just get excited about whatever.
Yeah.
Even if it's not what you want, right? The cake didn't want it.
Okay. You still
yeah, I just still had that
energy.
I don't know. It was my birthday, but
yeah,
you take what you can from it.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
So you're like, let me go back to that feeling.
Yeah. It's funny. I think photos can take you there, can't they? Because they're just a snapshot.
That's so true. Yeah.
So I love that. So I think that's gonna be. I'm gonna try and get some more photos of my childhood, so I can just extract that same feeling that I had, because I realised today that it's possible.
Yeah. Do you think that energy kind of had disappeared or something? Or
I think we all forget, don't we?
What do you mean?
I think we forget that we can go back to whatever emotion that we want to.
That's nice. That's really nice.
Yeah. You choose your own state,
yeah.
I think. And I really learned that in this past year. It's if I'm feeling a certain way, I have control, I can change it. But at the same time, it's important not to bypass the actual feeling, because I feel like I used to just really want to feel positive all the time, but there's beauty also in feeling the not so good stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah.
How did you come to this conclusion?
I think just the work, right? Realising that we have so many layers, and when you start to unpack those layers, you realise how much is just noise. And I think from that, I was able to just distill the fact that I feel like we have, this is going to sound a bit abstract, but I feel like there's a core, right? There's a core of good feelings, and there are all these layers that we build up on it. And so I realised that when I unpack that, I can just get to the good feelings a lot quicker, rather than just the things that I tell myself.
So go on, what do you mean by the work? I know it's
by the work. Yeah, because it looks different for everyone, I think.
Yeah, that's so true.
But for me, the work has been understanding what conditioning I've had, or what programming I've had growing up.
Yeah.
So what were those sort of subconscious beliefs that were imprinted to me when I was growing up?
Yeah.
So to sort of give you a bit of a background, my parents are quite conservative, quite Muslim. There's obviously a lot of things, and they're also much older, right? So a lot more conservative, just by virtue of being older. So I think that from that I realised that I had a lot of patterns when I was in sort of 18, 19 age, when these sort of things start coming up. And yeah, I think for me the work is unpacking that, right? And realising, okay, I'm not those things that I was taught when I was growing up. I think that's part of it. That's part of the work.
Yeah.
So yeah, just unpacking family stuff, and then just getting more comfortable with who you are. you know?
Nice.
And I love that. It's like we're all so different, but I've found that, maybe I can speak for myself, you sort of try and fit yourself into a certain box, right? Especially living in a city like London.
Yeah.
And so for me, the work has been not listening to that, and then trying to get to who's Attia.
Love it.
And also, like, that's quite hard because you're always being told stuff.
So true.
People
so
always
true.
giving you advice.
Yeah.
Based on themselves.
Yeah.
Not you.
Yeah.
Right?
I suppose, like you said, the conditioning, that is also part of it.
Like we're always projecting. Even I do it sometimes, right? We all do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the work is so broad. There are so many ways to unpack those layers. Yeah.
When would you say that you like began doing the work?
Burning Man.
Really?
Yeah.
Love that. That was like, because I think it's always hard to take like one moment.
Yeah.
Because actually everything is connected.
Yeah, and then when you look in hindsight, you can see, okay, oh wow, there are these small insights.
Yeah, it's so true.
I guess my like off the bat answer would be Burning Man, but yeah, there were things. So Burning Man was 2 years ago now.
Okay.
But there were obviously things before then. I love it as well. It's so cool. But there were obviously things before then, like I would say meditation and like meeting you even, or you know, manifesting things and, you know, writing lists and understanding like, you know, what I perceive to be the mechanics of the universe and, you know, like feeling energy at different points, I would say. But really the actual work started at Burning Man.
No, I just think it's so incredible that someone managed to create a space where you can just go on a journey. Like,
yeah.
I love it.
It's like the energy of that place is completely different.
So go on, tell us what happened at Burning Man.
What happened? What didn't happen? What didn't happen at Burning Man? Okay, so this was my second Burning Man. The first one I went alone, had no idea what I was getting myself into, and ended up having a great adventure, meeting amazing people, and realizing that it's a party. It can be a party, but it can also be a place for amazing growth. And things I learned about myself there, especially going alone. And I would encourage like everyone just to go. It's the maddest adventure you'll ever have. But because I realized that it is a place of growth, I wanted to get more specific with what I'm gonna learn there.
Yeah.
So I wrote this list the second year, and like still retelling the story, it's mad to me. Like, how could I just make a list of things that I wanted to learn, things that I wanted to happen, people I wanted to meet, things very specific, like I wanted to meet the founder of this company that I knew was going to go there. Out of 80,000 people, I wanted to meet him. And I wrote, I want to make a group of friends that, you know, they're going to Lake Tahoe after and they're going to invite me. You know, like things like that I was just like, yeah, sure, like that would be nice.
Yeah.
And on it, I also wrote, I wanted to understand more about myself in a relationship. Because at that point, I hadn't been in very long relationships or even successful relationships. You know, I feel like I had successful. As in, I feel like there was a wall there, right? There was stuff there.
Felt that.
And it was me. I felt like it was me, and there was something I needed to uncover in order to get to the next level. So I put that on my list, and it was like day 5 and everything on this list came true, like really specific, all the specific stuff. And I was sitting there, it was like 6 a.m. I just slept, I woke up just watching people come back from their like night out, and this guy like comes over and sits next to me. He just like sort of rides up on his bike, like very unassuming guy, just normal. This always happens at Burning Man, right? Like people just come up to you and make conversation. And this guy says, "Penny, for your thoughts." And I'm like, yeah, sure, like have a seat. And he's like, "How's your burn going?" Like the typical conversation where you start talking about what's happened to you. And I was very open. I said, you know, I wrote this list of things that I wanted to happen, and everything that was on this list came true except for one thing. I wanted to learn more about myself in a relationship, and it hasn't happened yet. And he was like, "If you want, like we can deep dive into that now."
Oh my god, love it.
And I was confused, right? I was just like, yeah, okay, And it happened that he was trained, or like his gift was basically that he was able to make these links, these patterns.
Yeah.
And for me, I was never a fan of this like Freudian, you are the way you are because of your parents type thing.
Yeah.
It never really spoke to me because I've always felt so different to my parents, and I was like, there's no link. No. I know it's like one of the most established branches of psychology, but like, no, it's something else. And this guy was like, you know, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. You know, we're going to really deep dive into this.
Yeah.
And he ended up linking, you know, my pattern in relationships to my relationship with myself, which I had also never explored. And that was linked to my relationship with my parents, or like my parents' relationship with me.
Yeah.
And that was really profound. And it made me realize that when you untie one of these knots, like I feel like we're all like knotted in different ways, right? It made me realize that when you untie one of these knots, the implications are huge. It's like, it's really hard to face yourself in that way, because you can also blame yourself, I think. You know, you can get into other self-hating habits when you're like, oh damn it, I wish I learned this earlier, or whatever. But I got such benefit from it, and actually after that my relationships were a lot more smoother, and from there I would say the work spiraled. So I was like, well, I need to fix, right? But I need to address, I guess, the other areas of like the relationship side that might be holding me back. I need to address, you know, the parts of my relationship with my parents that might not be amazing. And there's a lot of healing that needs to happen there, I think. So much parent stuff. And then stuff about, you know, I think you get deeper into it, and now I think of it as fun, right? I'm like, wow, like what else can I like what else can I discover about myself from that parent stuff that will have implications in other stuff, because everything is linked. And I realized that. So yeah, Burning Man changed my life.
So this was the second time you went, which was
2016.
Okay. The second time I had the big like pivotal. I was gonna ask you now. So did you think that you went through that, like a bit of hating yourself a bit for like not being a certain way, and then it changed to being like, oh yeah, this is fun?
I think that, not hating myself, but I did go through the it's hard to take a really good look at yourself. It's not easy. It's like, we all know that one. And that's why I think a lot of people don't do it.
It's so true.
It's because you're just like, oh my god, there's so much there. And I hope the dialogue, you know, through Partey, through whatever it is, turns into one of like, this is great. You know, any step is a good step. And it's true that I think that I went through you kind of peel one layer off and you're like, oh my god, there is so much in that container. And I don't necessarily, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so messed up, and this period didn't last for that long, because I feel like I did it quite intensively, as in I was just like forced to do it. It wasn't a period of like, oh, I'm gonna learn one thing, wait for 3 months and then deep dive into another thing, because I kept talking to this guy about things that I was dealing with.
After you came back from Ghana.
After I came back. And I was going through other challenges, right, like moving countries and trying to overcome fear and healing my relationship with food, and like the food one was a big one, but there were all of these big blocks, and I was just like, okay, boom, 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 boom. But I'm still like, whoa, we have so much there, all of us, but I'm not so overwhelmed by it.
Nice.
Like I think of it as like cool, and also like how lucky am I? How lucky are we to be able to have that impetus to want to improve? Like for me, personal development is such a gift, and I'm like,
how did you change your relationship with your personal growth from being a bit heavier to lighter?
I would say it happened naturally, as in you unpeel enough layers and then you realise it's not so scary anymore. But I would also say that when I started to see the implications on the people around me, that's when I was kind of like, wow, this is great. Like, I started becoming less reactive to my parents or even like, you know, the people around me. I started judging less, and circumstances changed as I did. And so then you realize what a great thing it is. I don't see it as scary anymore.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is a nice thing to do for me, but also for the people that I'm interacting with.
Well, that's the main thing, right? It's kind of crazy, because I think some people think it's quite selfish. It can be seen as selfish, and it's like, but when you see it and how it affects everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how could you not?
Yeah.
Like, it's about, okay, yeah, when the narrative is, I want to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
That whole, like, Tim Ferriss, you know, gotta improve everything, you know, gotta fix these, fix.
Yeah.
I think I can see why it can be a bit of a selfish narrative.
Yes. Yeah.
But then when it's like you flip the switch to giving, right? Like,
yes.
Okay, why am I here? What do I want to give? What kind of person do I want to be in my interactions? How do I want to inspire people?
Yeah.
And like then I realized there was a point that I think it was during ayahuasca actually that I was like, my job here is to clean myself out as much as possible so that I can be an inspiration, you know? And I don't know what that channel is yet, but I'm excited about it.
Amazing.
And now I'm like, okay, I can't do that if I have all this noise.
Yeah, and you have to do it yourself.
Yeah.
So do you think that is one of the reasons why you like stepped into this path in the first place? Well, I suppose maybe at the beginning you didn't really see the implications yet.
No, I didn't.
So what made you think this is where I want to continue? Because like you said, I think it can be quite scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest, it just came to me.
Okay, fair enough.
Like the relationship thing, I think I was just frustrated.
Yeah.
Right? I was like, why isn't this? I don't think there was any clear reason why I hadn't been in like successful, like loving relationship. You know, the kind of thing that my friends were getting into.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like, well, why isn't this happening? There must be something.
Yeah.
Let me figure that out. But the purpose of that, it wasn't really altruistic, right? It was just like I wanted to like.
Interesting. Yeah.
I just wanted to be like everyone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, then I would say.
But it opened something.
Yeah, it opened a portal.
Yeah.
And I think the intention that was there was like, hey, I want to learn more about myself in this thing, and that hasn't changed.
Nice.
But it has changed in terms of, okay, now I like want to do that for the greater good. Yeah. Rather than just for me.
Yeah.
Like I've done the work for me, right? Now it's about how can I extend that, be more patient, be more giving.
Yeah.
What am I here to do?
It's funny because I think it's I don't even know if there is a line. Sometimes it's like it's actually the same thing.
What do you mean?
Because when you're making life better for yourself, automatically you're already making it better for everyone else.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's like,
it's so true. Like, I don't know what it is. It's the vibes.
It's just vibes.
It's just the vibes. It's like when I feel good, people respond to me better.
That's so true. So true.
I'm walking down the street and people are like giving me love back. Yeah. Like love energy is real. Yeah. It's so real.
And so tell us about ayahuasca.
Pat Aya. Yeah.
When did you take ayahuasca and why did you decide to do it?
Yeah. In March, and it was calling.
This year.
They say this year. So about 5 months ago. Yeah. 5.5 months ago. And they say like ayahuasca calls you, right? Yeah. You get the call because a few people had described it to me or had mentioned it to me in passing conversation, and it didn't not appeal, but it never spoke to me. Mm-hmm. And I just got the impetus. I'd moved back to London. I was in Asia. I'd just moved back, had a few like life changes, right? Yeah. And you told me, get in touch with this guy, and your experience really inspired me. And I don't know, like it just felt like the right thing. The dates were perfect. Nice. It was like almost just given to me on a plate. Yeah. And I wasn't scared. I knew that it was the sort of, I don't want to say level up, but I knew it was the thing for me to do next
in
order to get. Now I understand like what it gave to me. I just knew it would give something. And maybe I can talk about what it gave.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It made me understand love energy a lot more. And for me it was about self-love. And I'm so grateful for it because now, and you know, with ayahuasca the actual feeling itself fades, but I can really I can still go back to it. It's just a little bit less, but it gave me this feeling of like ultimate self-love. And I always describe it as I fell in love with myself. And there's, you know, I want everyone to feel that, right? It sounds so woo, but it's like we all need to feel that in order to give that to other people, I think. And it was so clear to me during the experience that the love that I feel from myself, or the love that anyone feels for themselves, is a direct reflection of the love that they give to other people. And so what better gift to give someone than loving myself, because that means that's the love I'm going to give to them. And it made me think, wow, I really want to be with someone that loves himself like loads.
Loads.
Ultimately. And that sounds so selfish sometimes. People really assume still. You know, there's all these messages, Justin Bieber song, love yourself, you know, but it's like people don't take it on.
There's a different way, like you can love yourself and be egotistical, right? But then that's not what you're talking about.
No.
You're talking about like the real deep kind of love.
That depth of like forgive yourself, you know, feel for yourself, take care of yourself, honor yourself, honor your boundaries, give yourself that energy, like that love energy, right? Do what you want to do day to day, listen to yourself, and like I'm still learning what self-love is, but you know what I just named are like the things that I try and remind myself of. And
I suppose it's also just like acceptance.
What is however I'm feeling is right.
And maybe that doesn't sound so selfish.
What doesn't?
If you say accepting yourself.
But I think self-love would change the world.
Man.
And so it gave me this amazing feeling of self-love. And then came the dark stuff. Not dark, but I basically went into like ancestral stuff. Because I come from a very like, it's not very Muslim, but it's a Muslim family. My parents met on their wedding day. And not only that, but it meant that my grandmother and her grandmother and her grandmother and her, like everyone met their husband on their wedding day.
That's so crazy.
And I felt like this ancestral pain. Even still, I can't believe I can't believe this. It's like crazy. But the ancestral ties run deep. And I've been reading up on it, and it's like real. These things are passed down. So I realized all of these women never got the opportunity to feel that deep love for not only someone else but also themselves. And I just felt all of their pain in different levels. And then this higher self voice basically said, but you break the pattern. This ends with you. So there were those two phrases. And that was so powerful, you know, because it does end with me, because I learned how to love myself and therefore other people. And I felt this overwhelming like gratitude for the moments that I've been able to feel that. And
And do you think also the ends with you is it to do with the arranged marriage as well, or not necessarily?
I think maybe it could be that, because I think it does. Like, I'm not going to make my children get an arranged marriage. But I also think like I'm interpreting it right, but I do think that it means that I've learned something, or I've achieved this feeling that these women haven't been able to.
And maybe it was restricted because of the arranged marriage or something.
Totally. Like I could feel that their love had a ceiling to it, you know. It was like this pain that was like trying to get past that ceiling, but they were limited. Like they had no choice.
Crazy, yeah.
Crazy. The sense of me though.
Soaring.
Yeah, it's great.
So do you think that this is like, this journey is going to last forever? Because earlier you said like, I don't know if I will even find the true me. Is that what? Yeah.
Did I say it? I mean, I don't know if everyone finds. I don't know if everyone finds this personal development journey.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
But in terms of this stuff being a journey,
yeah.
I actually used to be really uncomfortable with the phrase that life is a journey.
Really?
Yeah. My lesson in life is patience.
Yeah.
And it made me feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm never gonna. I want to learn everything now.
Yeah.
That was how my mentality was, and I'm still working on it.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, the journey. Do you feel like it's gonna be? This is it. This is you now. Chicks.
No. I feel like there's an evolving there.
What does that mean?
Do you mean that is this me? Is the journey done?
No, I don't mean like, is this me? Is this journey forever?
Yeah. Am I the journey?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, the journey is forever. It is, isn't it? It is, isn't it?
I love that, isn't it? The question afterwards. I don't know.
I think it is, but I'm still like, I used to hate the phrase life is a journey.
Yeah.
Because I used to see it as this like overwhelming, like, oh my gosh, really? It's never going to be done? Like, I'm never just going to learn and be able to enjoy the like fruits of my labor.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's so like, you're always learning stuff, and I feel like sometimes it's like, gosh, let me just enjoy it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that it's about being comfortable with the fact that we're in this constant flow, right?
Yeah.
And there's like good and bad in it. Vipassana, like meditation, like teaches you like just be okay with all of these changing things. Everything's always changing. And then the more we try and like hold on to that and make it not changing, the more we're going to suffer. So like another part of this journey is just being comfortable with that.
And then like then you can enjoy it as well.
Yeah.
If you get comfortable, right?
Still working on it.
Yes. Work in progress.
Yeah. Aren't we all, mate?
Yeah. So when did you do your Vipassana?
I did one about a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
And then my first one was a year and 6 months before that. So one was in January 2017. The second one was in July 2018.
So this is also after Burning Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. The hardest thing I've ever done.
What, Vipassana?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. I have such a monkey mind.
Yeah.
I also have a tendency to hold on to the positive. Right?
Yeah.
It's like you have all these positive sensations, and like when you're feeling negative stuff, I found it really hard to sit with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a really good training for me to learn how to see your negative, the negative parts of your life as just a coming and going thing, rather than something you need to plaster over with a positive feeling.
Yeah.
Which I tend to do.
Yeah.
And I think we all do that at different levels, right? We're like medicating in different ways, or like pleasure seekers and hedonists, and like, to be honest, Burning Man is like one of the most hedonistic places in the world. You don't have to tolerate any kind of like negative emotions or negative sort of experiences there. Does that make sense?
Why?
Because you could always distract yourself with something.
Okay. So you basically don't have to face them.
I think I should take that back. I don't know if that's quite accurate.
Love
actually.
that. No, but maybe
backtrack
it's for some people.
For some people, yeah.
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 But
because it can be a place of escape, right?
Yeah.
And there's so many ways that we can escape.
But for you, it doesn't sound like it was.
Actually, yeah, it wasn't.
But I think it is one of those places where, you know, whatever you're looking for, you'll find it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like ayahuasca. It will give you the lessons you need to learn.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vipassana was just a mind training exercise.
Yeah.
Well, no, I say just. It was just a mind training exercise. 10 days.
Yeah, because Vipassana is like 10 days.
Yeah.
In silence.
Yeah. No talking, no eye contact.
Yeah.
So hard. No reading, no writing.
And you're meditating for like 11 hours.
Yeah.
Every day.
Every day. Broken up.
Yeah.
But also like
It's
very
lot.
intensive.
Yeah.
And you're also not eating. If it's your second Vipassana, you're not eating after 11 a.m.
Yeah.
11:30 a.m. There's that challenge.
Yeah.
You're just sort of faced with your repressed emotions and repressed memories.
Yeah.
And I think different things come up for different people.
Yeah, definitely.
But for me, it was repressed memories the second time.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it.
Yeah. If you have a
Love it.
spare casual 10 days,
Yeah.
it's really fruitful.
So have you taken some of what you learned in Vipassana into your life?
I've tried. I
Yeah.
think the biggest things that I got from my second Vipassana was like clearing. It just cleared
Okay.
stuff.
Okay.
So I almost just know that that's been processed now, right? Like those emotions, they're not things that I'm holding on to. But
Yeah.
from the first one, it was definitely like just, I say general, but there were like the mindfulness benefits that everyone talks about. Just feeling calm, less reactive, just not stressed out,
Yeah.
easy. And then I needed a top up,
Okay, yeah.
you know, and I went deeper, I think, the second time.
So do you, like you saying the calmness and the mindfulness, do you bring that into your life? Or,
Yeah, try to.
yeah.
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 I would say just by waiting. It's probably the biggest way that I've brought it into my life, is like not making a decision straight away,
Nice.
and also
Nice.
not trust your emotions, feel them, but don't use them as a way to react.
Yeah.
I think that's been a major key.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say just knowing that everything is a constant flow. You sometimes need to wait for the waters to calm down a bit before reacting.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would just say that focus that I feel after Vipassana, there's nothing like it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
That clarity that you feel.
Yeah.
But there is like your mind is going wild. I don't know if it was the same for you, but it was like, oh my god, I'm mad. I'm a crazy person. There's just no structure to your thoughts. You're just like going all over the place, and then you realise that in real life, outside of that meditation hall, it can be the same. You're just less conscious of it, or everyone is like that. So yeah. So I think that awareness, I've brought that into my real life, right?
Nice.
So like, how's my mind right now?
Yeah.
How much am I thinking? How much am I living in the future?
Yeah.
How much am I living in the past?
Yeah.
What's happening here, babes?
Yeah.
Where are we?
Good work.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? So how long do you reckon that you've been on this evolutionary journey?
2.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you were to describe it to someone, because like you said, it's lots of different things. But what do you think is the best way to describe it?
To describe growth?
Yeah, maybe that's it. Growth.
Yeah. To me, it's growth. So I would think of it as growth, but you're stepping into who you really are.
Nice.
You know, you're getting rid of the noise. You're getting rid of what your parents told you when you were younger. You're getting rid of the ancestral stuff. You're getting rid of like the things you don't really believe in that people told you should. You're stepping into your authenticity and knowing your worth. And like that's such a gift. I
Mm.
think you're like learning, you're becoming more present.
Yeah.
I think that's a consequence of it. It's not really the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's like a byproduct.
Yeah.
It's nice.
No, yeah, really nice.
Yeah.
What do you think has been a like most difficult part for you, or the most challenging? Yeah.
I would say 2 things.
Mm.
The first thing is really coming face to face with yourself,
Mm.
and some of the stuff is ugly. It's like, oh gosh, like didn't want to
Mm.
relive that memory.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like really heavy stuff from your childhood can come up that you didn't even know was there.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a conscious memory. It's like you've suppressed it.
Yeah.
And I think that when stuff like that comes up, it's like, oh gosh, you relive that pain,
Yeah.
and you have to go to that inner child and talk to him or her, and that's not a pleasant emotion, I think. So feeling that has been like on a few different times that's happened.
Yeah.
I've been like, oh my gosh,
Mm.
you go back there.
Mm.
But then you clear it, so it's like a negative emotion, but then like, wow,
Yeah.
just that
Yeah.
clearness makes it all worth it.
Mm.
And then I would say that, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I'm going to say it anyway. You connect with less people, as in you sometimes feel like, oh my gosh, like the pool of people that are also doing this work is smaller. You feel like there are less conscious people around, but it also makes you want to spread the word a little bit more.
So what do you mean? Why do you think you connect with less people?
Because London is a very hectic city,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of people are lost in the source,
Yeah. Yeah.
as they say.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm on the tube and I'm like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah.
the energy is just,
Yeah.
people are not doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
People don't look inspired. And I wonder whether that's me looking for that.
Mm.
But I do think that the city can be a bit conducive to not doing the work.
Yeah.
It incentivizes
Yeah.
the wrong things.
So are you saying that that was the difficult part was because you connected with less people, or?
You notice a lot more when people are not conscious or connected.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would say that heightened awareness
Yeah.
is a bit like, I wish I didn't. Sometimes ignorance
Yeah.
is bliss,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
but it's not.
Yeah.
It's just
That's a lie. Not true.
no, but you know what I mean. It's like you just see that there's a real gap in the market.
And
There's
maybe-
a gap in the market for more awareness and more consciousness, and you're like, oh my gosh, the state of the world is a reflection of people's mindsets.
Yeah. And maybe also it's the gap that you feel from like, I don't know, from like where you are,
Mm.
which is different to where someone else that you see on the tube is. So it's like,
What do you mean? Tell me.
like because you are putting in all this work on yourself and not like you say, you connect with less people because not many people are doing it, let's say.
Yeah.
So then you feel a bit distant maybe?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Exactly that.
challenging.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's challenging because
Yeah.
you're not speaking the same language,
Yeah, interesting.
and you start seeing that everyone is projecting their insecurities, and you just want to help people.
And so how?
Also, you're not a helper.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's
Yeah.
a big thing for people on this journey, is that they encounter people that need healing,
Yes.
and they think that they can heal them, but it's an inside job, and it is though, right?
Yeah.
So like there is that element of frustration when you're on this journey where it's like, wow, like I'm doing all this work, like maybe I can help people, maybe I can inspire. I think you can inspire people, but the work is a very personal thing.
So how do you deal with that particular issue?
I think you've just got to create a bubble somewhat, and also know that you can only inspire people. You can't do the work for people.
Yeah.
And I think I've probably encountered that more in a relationship context, right? Because, you know, you attract a certain person and then you really care about them and you want them to thrive and you want them to do that. And there's that friction where you literally can't do the work for someone. They need to have that impetus to want to do it for themselves. And so I think I realised, like, I can inspire, I can be that, you know, I can inspire you to open the door, but you need to put the key in the lock. Ooh.
It's the remix to Ignition.
Oh my god, yes.
I suppose, like, that's it. You have to let go.
Key. Yeah, just let go and know that your job, that's not your job.
Yeah. Good.
And that also, you know, I believe that you can attract whatever it is that you want. Right? Like, your energy, I believe you create from your subconscious. So I think that knowing and not getting attached to one thing, and also seeing things as lessons. You know, what was that challenge here to teach me? It's always there to level you up, I think.
Yeah. So if you were to look back on, like, when the door first opened for you, when the portal was there, what advice would you give yourself, knowing now what you've been through?
Go deep.
Yes.
Go deep. Don't be scared. It's all good. And I feel like that portal opened because I was ready for it.
Yeah.
And so just trust as well. And know that you can have whatever you want. Get specific. Like, I wrote a list, you know, write lists.
That's good.
What else? I would say seek to find more, I mean, this is looking back, right? But I would say look to find more people that are also doing this stuff or learning. But yeah, go deep. Make use of every resource you want. Read all the books. But I feel like I did that. But more. There's loads there.
There is so much.
Yeah.
So much. Do you have a particular book that you think really helped you? Off the top of your head?
There's been loads. I would say that it's like the typical ones, right? The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. Power of Now, classic. I read recently the Surrender Experiment, which spoke to me in some ways, but it's literally this guy that just surrendered to everything and his life was better than he could have ever designed.
Wow.
Just very, very synchronistic. All of these things one after the other. That really inspired me. But because I like to write lists, I like to get specific, it was kind of a bit different to what I'm used to. That was amazing. There's another book called Design Your Life by these like 2 Stanford professors that advocate like looking at your life as a designer, right? So keep improving, you know, try something. If it doesn't work, you reiterate, and it gives a really specific process for doing that.
Nice.
The Power. There's a book called The Power. It's written by the same woman as The Secret, and it's all about love energy. It's all about like harnessing that chakra.
Nice.
And what that means and how to do it practically.
Sounds like you've read a lot. Has that
just a few?
Has that helped you on your way?
Yeah,
reading?
I think that there are all these tools, right? Different tools will speak to different people.
Yeah, and they're here, they're available.
Yeah, and weirdly, like, the right things come to you at the right time.
Yeah.
You know all about that. It's like the book that you're reading will be like, oh my gosh, I need to hear that.
Yeah, like now.
Yeah. About time.
Yeah. So I think that I feel like this whole thing is kind of also really about freedom. Personally.
Okay.
Because it's like...
You're all about that?
Yeah, because you remove those things that stop you.
Yeah.
from just, like you said earlier, stepping into yourself. So I would just wanted to ask you, what does freedom mean to you?
You said it, no layers,
Mm.
no noise, no less, I would say less conditioning, less noise. Knowing that when you want to do something, you're not holding yourself back.
Mm.
Still working on that, right? And
You still want to do something?
yeah, sometimes I want to do something and I'm like, oh, but, there are all these buts.
Yes.
And then it's like, no. If there was freedom,
Yeah.
it would be straight path,
That's so
right?
true. Yeah.
No noise, no conditioning, and la la la, mental chatter,
Yeah.
and freedom is just like being you.
Mm.
Like, who am I? This is like the core of all this personal development stuff. I feel like who's Attia when all of this stuff is taken away?
Mm.
And to go back to Burning Man, I think that's why it gets you there. It gets you to a place of like knowing yourself a bit better, because people there, they never ask you what you do or like where you're from.
Mm.
You know, there's like two like go-to questions in London.
Mm.
It's all about like, you end up having much more interesting conversations when you're not lost in that
Yeah.
identity stuff, which
Yeah.
isn't really your identity.
Yeah. And what does it feel like? Freedom. Love that.
Literally. Right?
Yeah.
We have like tastes of this feeling
It's true. Yeah.
day to day. I've been having a lot more lately.
Mm. Yeah.
And just that, yeah.
Yeah.
I know when I'm in that flow, when I'm like smiling at people in the street,
Yeah.
and when I'm like interacting with people that I'm just passing by, and I know that they can feel that energy from me.
Mm.
It's just like a calm. There's no tension in my upper back.
Mm. Nice.
I'm chilled.
Yeah.
Everything that comes to me is right, even if it's not necessarily good, right?
Yeah. Sweet. I think I'm gonna stop it there. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
I hope that we can all be inspired by Attia. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yes.
Yes.
It's just that word.
Yes.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Love it.
It's a powerful word.
It is.
Freaking powerful.
Yes.
That this is what it is all about. We were born to feel